We are rolling. Well, again, thank you guys for doing this. I was just going to ask you these few questions, and then we'll go from there. First is just family and childhood. What was your childhood like growing up?
Well,
What was one of your favorite memories from your childhood in Sydney?
well, at what age?
Just as a kid, teenager, or a little kid growing up, anything.
Well, as a little girl growing up, I spent all my time playing with all my cats and dressing them up in dog clothes.
Oh, that's fun.
And in high school, and I enjoyed basketball and just hanging out with friends, and I had a girlfriend that lived with me for 2 years while I was at high school, so I enjoyed having a sister for that period of time, and we're still good friends today.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't. Who is that?
Mary Hall.
Oh,
You've
that's
heard
cool.
you've heard your dad talk about Darla.
Yeah.
That's Darla's mother.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. And you played basketball from middle school to high school, or did you play even in like grade school as well?
Oh no, when we were going to school, you didn't start sports until 7th grade.
Till 7th grade. Okay. Were you on the A team?
I was.
Oh.
But in junior high, we 7th and 8th grade competed. They played together, so as a 7th grader, we had to compete against 8th grade also.
Okay.
For position.
Well, that's cool.
I played guard.
Oh, nice. What was your high score?
That's when
I didn't score.
Ah.
I
Oh,
kept on
that's
from scoring.
right, because you couldn't cross half court.
That's right.
Ah, see, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Ah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, that's cool. Well, what's one of your favorite childhood memories from Sydney?
oh man, I was baby of the family, and so my brother and sister they were about 9 to 11 years older than me, and so there was always something going on there. I guess my earliest things that I remember is I remember one night we went to coming home from church, and got out of the car, and brother and sister, they got to teasing me about throwing a rock over the car. There's a rock there about that big, and so man, I wound up and I threw, and it went through the driver's side window, and that was before safety glass, and so it just knocked a hole in the window like that, and Dad fixed it up with 2 little squares of wood and bolted them together, and they stayed in place there, I guess, until we got rid of the car, whatnot. But I had dogs. They took care of me. I always said that God gave me dogs for Judas goats, because there's about 2 of them that get killed with rattlesnake bites every year, and I always figured that they're saving me from one of them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
And so, but I do remember very early, just before my granddad died, I remember going to town with Dad, and he bought a little nickel ice cream cup that time, and he was going to take it out to his dad. And I said, hey, could I have one? He said, sorry, son, I don't have any more money. It's during the wartime, and you had to have stamps to get gas. and so we drove on out to the country, and I remember seeing him eat that, and he apparently had stomach cancer, and he barfed it up off the front porch, you know, and but the thing about it is, I never could put a time on it, and I got to thinking, well, he died in 42 after that, so that was an early memory for me because I was about 2.5 years old.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what year you thought that was.
Yeah, so that's unusual to be able to do that. And I remember going to their house 2 or 3 times.
That's cool. Just back looking over your life, what's like one of the major events you really remember? You know, for me, it's like, you know, September 11th. You know, I remember I was at school, and I remember that it's kind of like the first world thing. What major events do you guys, you know, really remember, or something that just sticks out to you? You know, not necessarily a world event, or maybe something that happened in Canadian, or something happened in Sydney, or, you know, just kind of made like a major event.
Well, as far as world event, I remember when Kennedy was shot. We were fairly young then, and it was a major thing.
One of the things I remember that probably always stuck with me is Sunday school. And whenever I was a little bitty guy, the school teacher would gather up about a half a dozen of us, and at church they had some door kind of bifold full-size doors kind of deal that is kind of swing together, and you could pull them around and make a little room behind the doors there and whatnot. And that's what she'd do. She'd get just about a half a dozen of those kids behind that door and in that corner, and that she is always, you know, just a super mom and super teacher. She was an older lady at that time, you know. But anyway, that's one of the.
What was her name?
Ms. Helen.
Miss Helen.
She had a daughter that's the same age as Sue, and I think her name is Wanda. And I'm not sure about the girl's name, but Ms. Helen was always there for the little kids.
That's a cool memory. On the like memories and traditions, what's a tradition, you know, of our family that you guys would like to see passed down or make sure that continues on? Or what's a tradition from your family, you know, from when you were a kid that you've carried down?
Well, the one thing that we always enjoyed at our house is we always went out and hunted our own Christmas tree from the pasture, and it was always a very special occasion.
Oh, that's cool. Well, that tree behind you looks kind of fake.
Yeah, it was kind of hard having a fake tree after all those years.
Our Christmas tree was always different at that time. My mother was allergic to cedar trees, and that was before that they sold many a fir tree at the store. And so instead of having cedar trees, Dad would go out and he'd cut the top out of a young live oak tree.
Oh, wow.
And so that was
that's a heck of a Christmas tree.
Our Christmas tree.
But you also had that plastic thing that you stuck candy on for a Christmas tree.
Later on, we wound up with
It was about like that.
I don't know, and it wasn't very tall. It's about so, and you stick gummy bears on it, you know, type deal. It wasn't gummy bears.
Gummy drops.
gumdrops is what they called in those days.
That's
And-
cool.
And so, anyway, that was a little different.
What is something that's been really tough in you guys' life that you had to trust the Lord Jesus Christ to like really bring you through a really tough time in your life?
Oh, I really don't, you know, we didn't have very much. Mother made all my clothes, and
That's
I always went, and my mother also was a part-time school teacher or a full-time school teacher, and she worked really hard to go ahead even after I was in school. She went ahead and got her master's degree and everything, but we didn't really know that we didn't have very much because we had good clothes and good meals and everything like that, but the money was managed and it was put in the right places, and so God provided us good place to live and gave us the will to manage what He gave us, So
Give us our daily bread, huh?
but to me,
And-
for me, it was watching my daddy go through not having his normal memory
Yeah.
for all the years that he experienced that.
How long was that? I just remember as a kid. I remember Thanksgivings of going and getting and having him here. But I do remember Burton normally his normal self at the highway house and us running by his chair and him grabbing us. But I don't remember how long his journey was on that.
Well, he was actually in the nursing home for 8 years, and of course he dealt with it some before that point.
Okay.
So I mean he was 93 when he passed away, and he probably from his early 80s that he was a beginning.
Oh, I didn't know that. I don't remember the time frame, but what was the time frame from when Ruthie passed to when Burton in the home when Ruthie was here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I couldn't remember that.
Yeah.
I guess, and then if you don't have one single thing, but what is the greatest thing that God has done in your life?
Blessed us beyond, gave us the Holy Spirit to guide and direct us. I mean, just so many ways that
Sure.
it's hard to come up with.
Right.
It-
I'm asking you to put the impossible into words.
Yeah.
Well, that's just like, like I was talking about how I grew up. And when Jan and I got married, of course, we didn't have doodly squat hardly, and yet we had plenty to start on too, because we had some stuff that we picked up from her parents and my parents and stuff that we bought ourselves but I
Well, I
think
think one way that we've been blessed is, and down through the years of being able to raise our family, is because of the things that he knew how to do, to work on the cars, to cut the kids' hair, and those kind of things, just fix things around the house. And then I could sew and make the clothes and cook the meals and manage the money. And I think God gave us these talents, and that's what helped us, because we lived from paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
we tried to live within our means, and the only way we was able to live within our means and do what we did is she did the sewing and the cooking from scratch and all that good stuff, and she was a good manager, and she didn't poof money off, and I like to think that I didn't poof money off either because we didn't have much, but the thing about it is we were able to I was able to fix the cars and work on them if we needed to, and so we always had a car that was it was blessed by the gods, I think, that because all the years we was on the road, we really didn't have major problems that I remember. You know, I mean, and as many miles as we put on, that's just a blessing.
Yeah.
Well, one blessing that for both of us, we each enjoyed our parents, and so when we married, we made a decision that we were going to go home and see our parents once a month, and we did that all down through the years. Now, when the kids were teenagers, sometimes it had to float over to 5 weeks or 6 weeks, but even when we lived at Spearman, which was over 400 miles, we went home like that because we enjoyed our parents and we wanted a close relationship with them.
I didn't know this. Y'all went home once a month back. Wow.
Yeah. Our kids learned to travel at an early age.
They did.
Yeah, I heard that they did some low-level flying up and down those roads.
They did. They did.
That's cool. I didn't realize how much y'all gone back and forth. Is there anything that any stories that you would want to tell all of us or the family, or something that we should know, or something you want to be passed down, or anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I mean,
You gotta hurry,
Hey, if you need to step off,
my meatloaf. is
yeah.
cooking.
Here, let me take your little deal. No. Yeah. I'll help you.
Sorry.
No.
now what was you asking?
Yeah, it was. Let's see. Oh, is there anything that you want to make sure is passed down, or anything you'd like to say to future generations?
Yeah. Huh.
Traditions, or just anything else you'd like to say to the future
Well,
going forward?
I think it's important to be aware and to be able to feel that God is blessing you. Because you really and truly, you may not have a whole lot left over of some of the things that some people consider to be the necessities or whatnot, but I think if you really look at it, if you do your part, you'll see God doing His part, and then you'll say, "Hey, He's doing my part too." So, I can think back to the little old lady that taught us Sunday school, but when we were little kids behind the doors there, and of course I'm sure everybody in church could probably hear it. I mean, everybody in their classes in the church, because they had sections off in the church, and it was just kind of a fan-shaped area there, and I'm sure they could hear the kids, but at the same time, I think those kids were blessed by the little old ladies, and then as time went on, I remember Sunday school teachers as two other ladies, and they were And then they stayed with us until we were in high school, you know, whatnot. So, I mean, those were blessings. And I think that we need to show our kids that God is blessing us a lot of times whenever we don't know it, or don't recognize it, maybe is a better term. And it's I think that's real important. But we just want to say we'd like for unity in our kids to be something that's passed on, because we have been blessed with it, I think, and we'd like to see that continue. I hate to see families struggling, you know, just to be around each other, and that's even though I was a baby of the family, and I didn't spend much time around Joe and Sue after they got grown, because they went on to college, and then they went out into their worlds, and so and they were not close geographically, but it's like I said, Jan and I committed to be part of our folks' family after we got married, and so we've enjoyed that over the years.
That was good. It's a great answer. Well, I think that let's see. And I don't know if you still got time. I was going to ask you a couple other work questions. If you want to take a break, we can call it a break.
Other workplaces?
Well, just like
first job?
Yeah, first job.
Oh my goodness. Well, you know, I guess the first job that I recall having was whenever I was real small. I'd go over to my grandmother's, and that was after Granddad had passed away, I think. And she had the habit of dipping snuff, and she'd tell me that, oh, if you'll get me some, I called them snuff sticks, but they were little pieces of tree roots, and I can't remember if it was hackberry or no, either hackberry or some other tree that grew in that area, and I'd go dig up those roots and then cut them into pieces about 6-8 inches long, and then I'd go out with a hammer and I'd hammer the ends of them. I'd peel the bark off of them, and then I'd hammer the ends of them for about 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch, and then that was her snuff dipping stick. And so I'd make some of those, and I'd wind up with a nickel or a dime or a quarter or something other like that, and I thought that was good money. So
that is good money. Heck yeah. How old were you when you started doing that?
I don't know. That part I don't. I would say between 3 and 6, somewhere like that. And then whenever I got about 10 years old, whenever I got to be about 10 years old, I guess it was a job, picking up the eggs at the chicken house, and I got my cut was colored eggs, and they brought less money at the store. But that was my spending money, and so then along with that, I was the neighbor worked at a children's home down around Round Rock, Texas, on during the weeks, but they wouldn't come home but about once every 2 or 3 weeks, something like that. And so I would take care of some of his cows. I was about what, 12 years old, something like that. And I'd get some pay from that, so I bought me a bicycle with that. And
How much did that bicycle cost?
it was a used one, and my cousin had, and I couldn't tell you what that would cost. My first bicycle was one that I had saved money up, and my granddad on mother's side, Granddad Joe, he would give me $1 or $2 whenever he was come and visit us or stay with us for maybe a month sometime. He was retired, and he had a bum knee that he had gotten injured. And anyway, I saved my money, and then during the year I'd go with Dad. He'd trap some furs and stuff like that, and we'd sell. I'd get one kind of fur out. I don't remember what it was now for sure, but anyway, I'd save my money, and so I had saved till I had about 30. I think it's $33 or $35, and I bought my first bike. It was a little 24-inch or 20-inch bicycle. I thought that was some high cotton.
That is
Yeah.
cool.
Huh?
That is cool.
Yeah.
When you went trapping with your dad, did y'all go hunting on your place or just neighboring places?
Neighboring places.
And what were you, like foxes or like?
Fox and coon, and that was the main thing, I think.
That's cool.
And you do that in season when the hides were good. And I remember a time or two going with my sister, brother would go with us, you know. And they got the better hides, and I got the cheap ones, but that's okay, you know. And it just different things. I know one time Dad was plowing it. I was about probably around 5 years old, maybe 6, and I had been staying with him. Mama's teaching, and he fixed a kind of about a box about 4 foot square on the back of the tractor, and it had a quilt in it, and I'd lay down in that, and he'd just be plowing, you know, whatnot. And,
That's cool.
Anyway, he let me off at the end of the road one day, and I had my favorite dog with me, Tiny, which she was a small dog, but she went with me everywhere I went, and I got out, and she took off and went through the fence and down into a creek area, and she wouldn't come back out, and she was barking and this, that, and the other, and so I went there to get her. And Dad was plowing up here, and he didn't, you know, he is at the other end. But he watched what I was doing. And so whenever I got down there, Tiny she'd gone in this hole, and I couldn't get her to come out. And I finally got her out, pulling on her, and she was hanging on to the tail or whatever, I think, of the possum. And so, anyway, it's a full-grown possum. And those possums will, if they think something's got them, they'll just lay over and play possum dead, you know. And so I thought that she had killed her. I thought Tiny had killed the possum, and I grabbed that possum by the tail, and I was so proud of him and everything. And Dad said, standing up on the tractor well and says, get away from that thing, get away from that thing. And anyway, I drug him up to the fence, and he got there about that time. He said, get away from that thing, son. I said, he's not dead yet. So anyway, that was a kind of a funny deal, whatnot. But that just one of the deals you get into, I guess, as a kid growing up. And when I got to be about 10 years old, maybe 12, no, it was 10, because it was 50. I bought my own 22. I had a single shot 22 that sometime in between there had been mine, but it got to where that it would slide off. I mean, if you cocked it, and it might just bang. And so, supposedly my uncle was gonna fix it, and I never did see that gun anymore. But it was not a safe 22 to be around. But as a result of that, I went ahead and I'd saved some money from different things that I did and whatnot, and I bought 22 that I still have to this day, and it's the Stevens, and it's automatic on long rifle, and it's the bolt action on short and longs, or you can make it on long rifles. That just all you got to do is lock the bolt on it, and so that gun went with me everywhere on the mountain until, you know, other things took over and whatnot. But
that's cool. Did you hunt? You hunt a bunch of varmints on the mountain?
oh,
Yeah.
I was just going, looking. Good grief! You know, it's lucky I'm here. From I mean, there's rattlesnake dens up there, and I never got into any of them until I was in college, and my brother came home on the weekend, and we got into that.
You found a rattlesnake den?
Oh yeah, and as a result of that, after about there's a chunk of rock blowed off of the mountain back probably in the early 1900s, and they killed snakes up there then, but there was still cracks in the rock, and so that cracked layer and whatnot, we got in there, and in a year's time, we got about 180 rattlesnakes out of it.
Oh man.
Yeah, and there's all sizes. You learned a lot of messing with them. We had a deal that you catch chickens with, and it had a kind of a hook like this, as you catch them by the leg and pull them to you and grab another one. And that was whenever we were feeding ourselves with chickens, you know.
Wow.
And so, but anyway, we redid that and made a hook on the end of it where you could grab them and pull them out once you saw one, you know, but you couldn't pull him backwards. The pattern that's on their skin, it would pull against itself. It raised up when they relaxed or whatnot, and you'd pull them in two. But if you grabbed them on the head, you could just grab them in the neck area with that hook. You grab them and pull them out. You know,
Would you like sell the snake skins and stuff,
Nah.
or just
no,
got
we're
rid-
just getting rid of rattlesnakes.
Man, that's crazy.
Well, it really was, because I always felt like that you could tell a difference in the number of snakes that we saw down there on our own place that was down about a quarter mile below all that. Yeah, so anyway.
That was a cool story. That was cool.
I don't know if that was all.
That was good. I'm just make sure this saves. Was there? Yeah, that was a good story. Was there any other stories as far as like that comes to mind? That was a really good story.
Oh, oh my. Oh, there's a bunch of stories. I remember my uncle that I have a cousin about 6 months younger than me. His name's Larry Graham, and his dad used to trade the horses a little bit, and he'd bring one out and let Joe and Sue ride it, you know, whatnot. And he had one nice looking horse, but a little bit spirited. And I don't know, Sue went down there to ride him one evening, and I went down there to the barn with her, and she saddled him up, and she let me ride in the saddle, and she led that horse through the gate and closed the gate, and then helped me get off, and I got off. And I mean, she got on that horse, and it was a rodeo from the first step. That horse just started bucking and pitching and bucking and pitching, and he went down there in the flat below the barn, and about, I don't know, that was probably about 100 yards down there. And he bucked and pitched the whole way down there, and why, I don't know, but he finally threw her, and threw her up in the air pretty good, and she came down on that hard dirt, and I thought he'd killed her, but she was just stunned for a few minutes, and then she was sore for about a month, I think, you know.
Oh, man.
But that was the deal, and
That was a good
there's hundreds of stories, but
This one died. I got a. Was there? Yeah, that was a good story. Was there any other stories as far as like that comes to mind? That was a really good story.
oh, oh my. Oh, there's a bunch of stories. I remember my uncle that I have a cousin about 6 months younger than me. His name's Larry Graham, and his dad used to trade the horses a little bit, and he'd bring one out and let Joe and Sue ride it, you know, whatnot. And he had one nice looking horse, but a little bit spirited. And I don't know, Sue went down there to ride him one evening, And I went down there to the barn with her, and she saddled him up, and she let me ride in the saddle, and she led that horse through the gate and closed the gate, and then helped me get off, and I got off. And I mean, she got on that horse, and it was a rodeo from the first step. That horse just started bucking and pitching and bucking and pitching. And he went down there in the flat below the barn, and about, I don't know, that was probably about 100 yards down there. And he bucked and pitched the whole way down there, and why, I don't know, but he finally threw her, and threw her up in the air pretty good, and she came down on that hard dirt, and I thought he'd killed her, but she was just stunned for a few minutes, and then she was sore for about a month, I think, you know.
Oh, man.
But that was the deal, and
That was a good one.
there's hundreds of stories, but
This one died. I gotta there, and then just say hello to the microphone real quick. I'm just gonna make sure that works.
hello.
Hello.
Okay.